You are looking at live pictures of iconic Sydney Harbour. People just starting their work days there in Sydney. Many of them not thinking twice at all about the vital natural resource that is water. But if they knew what was really going on beneath the water's surface, particularly under the Sydney Harbour Bridge, they'd likely be shocked. So let's take an in-depth look at the slow destruction of this natural wonder. And this is where photojournalist Dean Cropp literally dives in.
Our world-famous harbour, and below the surface, its disgusting secret. This is the bottom of the harbour, just off Manly, and it's a sea of garbage. Plastic bags dance in the silence, out of sight and out of mind. A wrapper from lunch lies next to a beer from dinner. And a Slurpee cup, complete with the straw it was sipped with. And yet another plastic cup. Useful for 5 minutes, but down here it could last 500 years. Bikes, bathtubs and even shopping trolleys. Anything that doesn't sink gets washed into the beaches. And our summer of wet weather has made the problem even worse. Small harbour beaches like this one cop a double dumping. Rubbish is blown in on this side and washes down with the stormwater from the streets above. Meet the Harbour Garbos. The team with a never-ending job.
We might clean a beach and we're really proud of the job we've done. We go away, then we drive past again the next day and it's all back.
Every day they're out on the water, going where the wind, rain and tide dumps the rubbish.
Easily over 100 garbage trucks in a year we'd recover.
That's more than 900 tonne. Look what the skimmer sucks up in just a minute.
That little bit we just did then, all the plastics that we got out of it.
And the plastic they don't scoop up is adding to an even bigger global problem.
May join this system of networks which are contributing to these 5 major garbage patches in our open ocean.
Dean Cropp, 7 News.
Well, let's bring in Dean Cropp live in Sydney. Hi there, Dean. Thanks for joining us. Let's talk a little more about those major garbage patches that are in the ocean. What's happening? Are people just throwing their stuff in that they finish with lunch and dinner just into the water, or is it getting into the water another way?
Well, I would hope it's not on purpose that this rubbish is getting into the water. I think a lot of it is dropped on the street, it's blown out of rubbish bins, and sometimes, yes, people are careless, but they may not realise that what you leave next to the park bench, what you leave on the road, ends up in the ocean. All drains lead to the ocean in harbour cities like Sydney, and so it's going to end up in there. The next time it rains or the next time there's a bit of wind, it ends up in the harbour here, and then if the tide's going out or there's a westerly wind here in Sydney, it could go straight out of the harbour and it joins an even bigger problem.
And what went through your mind when you first went underwater and saw the scale of the problem?
Well, I'm actually the underwater cameraman here for Channel 7 News, and I'm underwater a lot and I see it a lot. And I'm usually trying to frame it out because, you know, it doesn't look as beautiful as the animal or the fish or the seahorse I'm filming. But, you know, it got to a point where I got so sick of it that I went round and filmed all the places I knew were really bad for rubbish. And as I found out, it's really shocking. You know, and there's a lot more down there than people realise. What you see on the surface is only a small fraction of what's down there. The rubbish on the water has been accumulating. It's been accumulating for 200 years. And
you say that in one case, the lifespan of it underwater could be 500 years. Can you break down for us precisely what happens?
Well, a really good statistic is that all the plastic that we've ever made on Earth, we've still got 90% of it is still here. So it doesn't break down very quickly at all. The plastic that flows into the harbour here, it will photo-degrade. So you may end up with a big plastic bag. There's actually one just behind me there. You may end up with a large plastic bag, but it'll break down through sun, wave action and wind into tiny, tiny little pieces. And those little pieces become almost microscopic, and that's a problem because then fish will eat them and you know, different wildlife will ingest them, and all those toxins then stay in their body and then they can end up in ours when we eat those fish.
Okay, let me ask you then, is it possible, do you think, to have a global coordinated action? We see there pictures of volunteers helping to clean up the rubbish, but really it does seem to be a thankless task.
You can absolutely make a difference. The best thing we've been doing is being uncoordinated. not uncoordinated so much as we don't have to wait for a really big cleanup. We don't have to wait for a one day a year where we go and clean up. Why not do it tomorrow? Why not do it today in your lunch hour? And that's where the Two Hands project comes in. It's less about organising everybody to do a cleanup. It's better to grab you, your friends, your family, your kids, go down to your local beach, spend 30 minutes just using your two hands, pick up what you can, make a little pile of rubbish on the sand there or in the park, take a photo with your phone, put it up on Facebook, and we'll all give you a big pat on the back, social media style.
A final question then. If you flip this problem around the other way and go back to source, I mean, what is the possibility of asking manufacturers to do something about the production of plastics? Is that possible?
Absolutely. That's the long-range solution to this, is get manufacturers to change the way they do packaging. You know, what's to say that a soft drink bottle, a plastic soft drink bottle, can't have the cap attached? Then it's one piece of plastic, not two we're chasing. You know, and the only way manufacturers are going to change what they do is if we, the consumer, change what we buy. If we start buying the items that have less packaging, less damaging packaging, then the manufacturers will have to change.
We'll leave it there. Dean Crop, thank you so much indeed for joining us there with Sydney Opera House behind you in the background. Beautiful.
It is a beautiful view.
It is a beautiful view indeed. And I think we'll just take another shot of Sydney Harbour Bridge this morning as commuters make their way to work. Thanks very much again, Dean. And you can find out more about that by going to the Two Hands project on the website.